So today I'm in a good mood. Got good drink and good food, with some good friends and good news. So today I'm in a good mood. Good mood. Yeah, today I'm in a good mood. Today I'm in a good mood. Yeah, today I'm in a yeah, today I'm in a yeah, today I'm in a good mood. Good.
All right, good morning, guys, on a beautiful, dreary Tuesday morning here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hopefully all of your basements are dry, and if you got water, hopefully that you were able to clean it up. I know there was a ton of water, and yeah, hopefully everybody's been able to clean it up, and that any of you who have listings out there right now, especially those that are unoccupied, that you've been able to check on them and that they're hanging in there. And I would also point out a reminder too, great opportunity for you to connect with your clients and be a resource to provide information for your people on clients, contractors, anything that you can do to provide support to those that have gotten water within their basements. Just wanted to make sure that we're on top of it as a group. Cool. All right. So what are we looking at today? We're going to jump into it quick with Red Day recap, just to give you guys an idea of the success we had last week in terms of the donations we received. We have a good friend of the program, Harrison Beecher from Washington, D.C., who's going to jump on to share with us some of the things that his group is having success with right now during this period. Amy Newcomber for RWS Home Warranty is going to jump on to provide some insight into RWS Home Warranty. I know there's been a ton of questions. And then we will also, if you have questions for Amy, utilize the chat feature, and we'll facilitate a Q&A with her to help address some of those concerns. Lindsay and Brad are going to go through smart plans within Command. So how do you stay in touch with your clients utilizing drip campaigns in a 33-touch system? Kimmy will give us some compliance updates. I'll give you some market insights and analysis, and then Mandy will wrap us up with some training and education. So here we go. Last week we gave a quick office update. I'm going to give a little bit more context to this for the group. But as it relates to the office updates, I just want to remind everyone that the leadership teams have come back into the office in both locations as of Thursday, May 7th. And I just wanted to give you one other heads up. The office is open on this Friday heading into Memorial Day, but we've made the decision to give our leadership teams the day off. Quite frankly, nobody has taken time off since this whole thing has really hit, and these guys have been working overtime to ensure that the essential business services that you guys need and use every day have continued and functioned. So we want to give these guys a break with their families, spend some time at home. So the leadership teams in both the North Shore and Lake Country offices will be off on Friday, May 22nd. Yet, if you have closings or anything of the such, the offices will be open. So just wanted to provide some context there. And then as a reminder, next week, Tuesday, immediately after Memorial Day, we will not host a team meeting. So our next team meeting will be on Tuesday, June 2nd. Couple other updates for you as it relates to the office and logistics. I just want to remind the group that the offices are open for essential services and closings as they have been over the last several weeks. And we are looking to officially reopen the offices beginning Monday, June 1st. With that, we will have some protocols in place. Just as a few updates for you. Masks are recommended while working in public spaces. So if you are coming in here, we do recommend and request that you would wear a mask within the public space. If you have an office within the market center, you're totally to do as you wish. We have masks in the office that will be, and we are providing to clients who are not wearing them for closings. We have an absorbent amount of hand sanitizer, Purell wipes. We will be sanitizing the public areas daily, and the conference rooms are sanitized after each use. So be on the lookout for more official communication from us this week but we are looking to officially reopen the offices as of Monday, June 1st. Questions, concerns, comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Cool. All right, so now we're going to give you guys a quick Red Day recap, and I'm going to turn it over to Diana to give us tell us a little bit about what Lake Country did to support St. Aug Prep.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. So excited. Just a little bit of background on me. This is my favorite day of the year, and it's one of the reasons that I joined KW is that we're such a community organization, and not only do we support them by doing really good business, but we support the community by doing really, really good business. And I'm super proud of KW Lake Country for coming together. They brought it. So our goal was to bring stable foodstuffs that St. Augustine Prep could get out to their community, gently used games and books, and we filled up 3 truckloads that we brought over on Thursday. And by the way, I love driving your truck, so just a little note there. And look forward to continuing our relationship with St. Aug Prep throughout. They do great work in the Milwaukee community education space, and super excited to be partners with them. So for everybody who brought stuff off or had their parents bring stuff to us, thank you, and looking forward to just kind of blowing this up throughout the course of the year. So that's what we did for Red Day. Charlie, what did you guys do?
Cool. So we supported the River West Food Pantry here right in the heart of our market, roughly only about 5 minutes away from our market center. And not only did we collect goods virtually through an online donation portal, we did on Thursday have the trailer outside where many people brought by hard good donations as well. We were able to fill an entire trailer that we brought down there to support of the River West Food Pantry. And as of yesterday, we had donated over 1,300 pounds of food to the River West Food Pantry, all online. So thank you guys for everything that you've done to reach out to your clients, for your personal donations. We even had vendors donating. And I'm proud to say, I would say, you know, based on a full trailer, that we definitely raised over 1,500 pounds of food for the River West Food Pantry. So thank you guys for all your participation on what was a different kind of a Red Day for all of us. But thank you for your participation.
Sure.
Cool. All right.
Hey, Charlie, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Quickly. I know you're up to 1,333 pounds. What's it take to get to 1,500? What's a $250 box? How many pounds does that equal?
I think it's about 100 pounds.
All right, we're going to donate 4 of those today. So we'll donate $1,000 and match your donation today from RWS. So
Cool.
just so
Thanks,
you know.
Scott.
So we'll take you over the top.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right, guys. So now I'm going to turn it over to a good friend of ours, Harrison Beecher, and a little context for you to who Harrison is. Harrison, as he likes to call it, at one time is a washed-up college football player at Georgetown University. He later was a professional DJ and a bouncer. You know, if you kind of equate that, he could be the East Coast version of Newbie, for all things considered. Him and his team services the greater Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia markets, right? He's the managing partner of their group called the Coalition Properties Group. In 2019, they served 170 families. They closed $68 million. And so far in 2020, they've served 72 families. They've closed up to $30 million so far through April. These guys are on an absolute tear on the East Coast. And not only is he so involved, not only do they run such an incredible business, especially for guys that are so young. Not only that, Harrison serves on his local board, his state board, and also the National Association of Realtors boards. He's a Realtor 30 Under 30 award winner. Harrison Beecher, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just going to switch there we go. All right, perfect. So Harrison, just kind of fill us in, right? Like, you guys are on a tear right now. Your business is growing at hyper growth despite everything that's going on. And one of the things I've noticed too is how involved you are digitally and socially in making connections with people. So just kind of talk us through, you know, what does that look like for you right now and your team?
For sure. And first, let me say that's one of the highest compliments I've received in a while, to call me the DC newbie. Like that's a pretty legit compliment. So thank you for that. Yeah, what's really unique and cool about what we've been able to do during this time is just kind of extend the networks that we've all curated and built naturally. So my partners, Keith James and Ryan Butler, are two friends of mine. Keith is our director of sales for our team, and I'm the chief marketing officer. So it's my role to kind of tell our story, which we had an advantage of having a lot of people looking at us anyway from having connections. So we've just really doubled down on those connections and being thoughtful about our narrative. So in the midst of COVID-19, the biggest thing we've done is still been able to show people that we are out working, that we're out working safely, but that the focus is not what we do, it's who we're able to help, right? Like if you change the lens a little bit from being this thirsty commission breath salesperson to someone who is finding every, resource and way possible to keep working, to keep helping people who need help, it's a narrative that our tribe has really responded well to us with, and they're continuing to send us referrals. And I don't know about you guys in Wisconsin, how you're feeling now, but from a leading indicator standpoint, we have had more initial inquiries and appointments in the month of April and the beginning of May than we did in April and May of 2019. So I think we're gearing up for a pretty crazy like June and July.
That's awesome. So dive a little bit deeper into some of those strategies, right? Like, what have you been doing, or that you've been able to find connections with people, or that you brought your database or sphere of influence closer to you guys through some of the things that you've done, right? And I'll give just the group some examples because I follow Harrison on social media, right? Like Harrison has tapped into his DJ roots and has hosted like Friday night DJ sessions on his Instagram Live. I know you guys have done some virtual home buying seminars with some lenders and various other things. So like talk about some of the specifics of your strategies.
For sure. So the idea around our those club quarantine parties, as we call them, was to keep that same energy going, where we knew people wanted to have a space to connect and do something like communally, like even though we're not together in person, being able to create a space where people can get together, have a good time, chat. And the most powerful part of those club quarantine or DJing nights was seeing the comments and seeing people actually interact and talk to each other. So I think, specifically from a strategy standpoint, if we can create a space where our sphere can get back together and share something, like we were also looking at doing like a watch party for Michael Jordan's The Last Dance show, right? Because we know everybody's watching it together. So why not curate a space where people can get together and talk? So it's really just continuing what we did in person. And then for our online seminars, it was really taking that same educational content that we found a lot of success with in real life and translating it with a couple tweaks to be better received in a virtual format. And we've done the same thing with all of our seller and buyer consults, like adjusting the actual PowerPoints and slides and visuals so that they are better consumed on small screens, and that the actual presentation is actually made a little bit shorter with a little bit more forced interaction too. Because when you're in person, there's a lot that you can overcome by body language and moving around and talking. But when you're on a digital format, you definitely have to practice more. And we have our team practicing with each other first. And then when we're going to do the seminars out with folks, it's kind of like a choreographed dance where I am in the background with my, screen off and muted, and I'm answering questions and directing my junior agents that are doing the seminar what to say, how to respond. So it's definitely taken a little bit more effort to adjust, but we're getting, like the one we had last Thursday, had about 42 people show up with about, I think it was only a week and a half of lead time. And of the 42 people that showed up for this investment/buyer seminar, the two agents that hosted it have had 4 appointments and 2 folks have signed up since. So like the numbers work. We're just continuing to keep them going literally every week because we're getting such good response from them.
Yeah. And so what I hear from that too is it's very choreographed and very intentional, right? It's not
Absolutely.
some willy-nilly thrown together home buying seminar. You're very intentional in terms of the flow of the program to ensure that you're capturing people in a short amount of time, but getting them the information that's vital for like a decision-making process.
Absolutely. And we're also thinking to be a little bit more niche because anybody can just do a home buying seminar. So my partner Ryan last week did a specific move up seminar, selling and buying right now. For the seller seminar, being really specific about the things we're doing to keep sellers safe, to enhance our marketing, to kind of level up with our video content. and show actual examples of like how we differentiate, because they're coming in and they're curious. And from a psychological standpoint, Charlie, we're also making sure we know that a lot of these folks in the sales cycle are probably more testing the water now. I think it's around here, it's either kind of they're really hot and ready to go now, or they're testing it to see what happens and they'll be back around in a couple months. So we're really improving our step-up game and our smart plans to make sure that we're doing the right things to stay in touch with all these extra people that we're adding to the database from these seminars.
Yeah, so talk about, one of the things that I think as it relates to seminars that's so important is, it's mind-blowing to me that you had 42 people on a home buying seminar with a week and a half notice, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the success of those seminars is really predicated on the work that you do on the front end, not only of creating the right content, but also of like getting your message out. What did that look like in terms of getting that kind of success to have that many people show up to learn about how to buy a home?
And again, the advantage we have is a lot of strong and real connections on our team Facebook page, on our team Instagram page, and our newsletter list that we feed every week with the emails from folks we're having consults with. So the ways we market it and tell people about it are, our assistant has a flyer template that she'll make. She'll interchange, and you can definitely check out on at Coalition Properties on Facebook. You can see the template, and at Coalition Properties on Instagram, you can see the template for these flyers. She'll basically interchange face, date, time, and tagline for that seminar. So it looks similar, like it's a similar flyer all the time. It's sent out to our newsletter list. It's posted on our social, and then all the agents on the team, and right now it is 8 salespeople total on the team. They're all posting it to their spheres and folks as well. And we're driving folks by everybody kind of blanketing the information. I was a little nervous at first about having too many, so folks wouldn't find any urgency to come to a specific one, but having basically 2 a week for the last 7-8 weeks has been good. I mean, the lowest turnout we had at one was only like 5 people that came to a specific seller seminar we did, but we got 2 virtual listing appointments out of it. So I'll take those numbers any day. And guess what? It cost us 0. We're not paying to boost it. We're like really relying on the organic and sharing nature of people and posting to be able to see it and share it. Yeah.
And so then talk about, right? So there's the work pre-event, there's the work of the event, and then talk about, I'm going back to, you had 42 people at a home buying seminar virtually, right? What's the follow-up system look like for your team when you have 42 people online, right? Like how do you, what does that look like post-event? So the mechanism we've been using to capture contact info is Eventbrite, and in Eventbrite you can get names, phone numbers, and emails. So we make sure that that's what we ask for if you want to come. You want to get the Zoom link to come to the seminar, you got to give us those 3 pieces of contact. From folks that are there, when we have somebody that is presenting versus like normally a leader who's in the meeting as well, just kind of monitoring the chat, I'm taking notes on names and the people who are asking questions and then corresponding that to the RSVP list that we have. So that gives a pretty specific hit list of who those agents need to follow up with right away. And then additionally, we have an ISA that, we used to use her primarily for like event follow-up and calling our sphere to, warm them up and touch them. We give her that list of the folks that don't kind of imminently respond, and she is following up to invite them to future events and just check in to see if we can get an appointment. So it's pretty specific to follow up with the people who raise their hand and talk. And then our ISA kind of takes that list of everybody else that was there and follows up after the agents that were actually in the seminar take it and do their regular follow-ups. Cool. All right, so I'm going to shift courses here a little bit. Talk about listings, right? Listings are still happening. I'm seeing you present listings all the time on your social media of new things that are coming to the marketplace. What does that conversation look like right now with potential sellers who are either considering listing or delaying a decision, or how are you guys navigating that conversation? Well, I've got quite a few, Charlie, that are in this move up space. And I know it's directly correlated to them being trapped in their house because of Corona, right? Like they've been sitting in their house looking at each other or realizing that they need a little bit more space or something. They're primarily motivated too by the value opportunity of seeing what rates are and seeing the chance to possibly move up. The truthful part of the narrative in DC is our inventory is so low that it's still really competitive to do.
So for any seller that reaches out, the majority of mine are past clients. So I'm fortunate to be able to attract people that I'm just staying in touch with by seeing our seminars, by seeing our content that we're showing with the video walkthroughs and the enhanced voiceover video content for marketing our listings. And they're intrigued and they say, look, I am really considering moving up. Can you help me with it? So the virtual listing presentations we've done, I find them best if they do a actual FaceTime kind of walkthrough. And then we sit down after they do the walkthrough and go through on Zoom or Google Hangout our actual listing presentation that's been modified a little bit to share better on the smaller screen. So really it's just paying attention to our folks that are already in the sphere and showing them what we are doing for the other listings. That is then attracting and starting conversations about, oh, could you do that for my house? And could I move up because now rates are good? So I think it's more of like fishing with a net instead of fishing with a spear, as I talked about before. By putting out that content, it's catching the folks and starting conversations with the good stuff that we're showing them we're doing already.
Yeah, in your market, it sounds very similar to ours. We're super tight inventory right now. Buyer demand is really strong. How are you navigating some of those conversations as it relates to, yeah, it's a great time to sell, and it's also, despite rates being low, also can be a challenging time to buy, knowing that it's competitive to get into something right now. Like, how do you navigate your clients through that conversation?
Well, to specific point of them being concerned about their home being devalued by 2, 3, 4%, right? Because that's a big concern in all the calls that I'm getting now. Like, well, if the market is down, if my house is worth less, am I also going to get a discount on the other end? And the first thing we say is to show them the numbers and show them, like, on the front page of our MLS, we can generate like basically up to the week status report, right? Of how many have traded, prices up, prices down. I really just rely on the data, man. And I want to show them, like, for your house, for this asset that you have, here's what I expect you to be able to get. Now, on the other end of this, realize that you're going to have to put together a really compelling offer, and it's not going to feel great. But right now, there's the potential that there may be a few less people that are willing to go as hard to secure it. So it's really just coaching them up through what it actually takes as driven by the data to get the home that they want under contract, and then getting them to get their house ready and show that, like, if we're going to have people in here and if we're going to make it look good online, you got to do a little bit more to make this house shine and make it look good so we can stand out from some of these other ones that are just kind of testing the market. Because I don't know if y'all have seen this too, but when there's a constricted inventory environment, we're seeing people bring product to the market that they're just like, I can just bring it because people are going to fight over it and it doesn't matter. So we still always want to make sure that we're helping them differentiate in some way and make their product stand out, even in a constricted inventory environment. Cool.
Well, Harrison, thank you for jumping on the call and adding value and nuggets to our group here in Milwaukee. We appreciate your friendship, and we appreciate all your insights and even your willingness to come out and teach in our group as you've done a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely, man. Love everything you guys have going on. And just let me say, from all of our NAR and YPN and all the things they do, having 130 people on a Zoom call is a testament to your culture. And yeah, man, I'm always here to support and help you guys in any way, and hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Cool. So guys, if you have questions for Harrison or things that you want him to touch on, feel free to shoot me a note or shoot me a text. I know we will definitely get you some answers. And also, Harrison did put together some best practices of the things that his group has been doing in terms of how they're living and showing up virtually and digitally in their world too, that I'll send out in our weekly recap as well. Cool. All right, man. Thanks, Harrison, for jumping on. We appreciate you.
You're welcome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day. All right. So, guys, now I'm going to turn it over to Amy and Scott Newcomer of RWS Home Warranty. I know as we rolled this out a few months ago back in early February, we've gone through some, trials and tribulations of learning the nuances to this new product to the marketplace that we believe has tremendous value to you and your clients. So we wanted to take this time to have Amy and Scott come on to kind of present a few additional insights into the policy, and then also feel free to utilize the chat section as it relates to Q&A so we can directly address any Q&A that you may have, or if any follow-up is necessary. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy Newcomer. Or Scott Newcomer.
Scott Newcomer is here.
Oh. Amy's
right.
here too.
All right, go ahead, Amy. I'll let you go first.
Thanks. So thanks for having us on here. We just wanted to pop in and say hi. So most of you know me. For those of you that don't, I'm Amy Newcomer, and I am actually the Director of National Sales for RWS Warranty. And two of our unique features that we really want to kind of focus on today is our Sewer Guard and our 24-hour customer service and our fast reply claim service for our realtors and their clients. And Charlie, I think you do, thank you. You do
Yep.
have the PowerPoint. One thing I wanted to touch on is that I know that there's been a lot of questions on pricing and does it include square footage of the basement or the garage? And so being in Wisconsin, because you're in my backyard and I'm the national director, other states do have to count that, but we go straight on the MLS. So Wisconsin agents at Keller Williams get to go straight from the MLS. You do not have to add basement. You do not have to add garage, attic, or anything else. So I just wanted to clear that up. The other thing about price is that if you can find a competing price with the same coverage, we will give your client a $50 gift card. So that's how strongly we believe in our pricing and our quality and everything that we cover. One of our unique features is the Sewer Guard. And I'm going to turn this over to Scott so that he can further explain. Scott, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now. I can hear me, I hope. So
You're good,
can you
Scott.
hear me?
So talk about the Sewer Guard. Yep.
All right. Yeah, it's the only coverage in the country, and this is one of the big things that reasons why I like residential warranty services is I'm going to give the quick background that this was not covered till about a few years ago, and Nathan Thornberry, who's the owner, who will get on a cell phone call with you at any time if you have an issue, problem, or concern. If Amy can't handle it, well, she can handle 99% of them, but he's always available. He had a single mother that had a problem. They moved in, sewer line backed up, wasn't covered. He decided that's not right. We're going to cover them. So it's the only warranty company in the country that if you have a problem when you move in, that they will take care of this. Now, there are obviously limits to this, and I mean, there's footage up to 90 feet of coverage, those types of things that go with the water lines. But just about any water line can be dug up, any sewer line can be dug up, repaired for a couple $1,000s, maybe $3,000. And there is, I mean, just like any other one, there's a deductible of $300, but you know, it is covered up to $2,000, and that's going to repair 99% of any kind of leaks or problems that occur. Even if you got to dig it up, repair it, and then obviously replace the dirt. So it's great coverage. It's the only one out there. And like I talked about in the presentation itself, as home inspectors, we do not obviously test sewer lines like they're going to get tested when the family moves in. So the family moves in and they have issues, there's coverage there for them. So it's a great product.
I'd also like to talk about the pre-existing conditions. So if it is something that is not covered in the home inspection report, so if it's something that was not listed in there, it is covered. You know, if it was listed in the home inspection report, obviously that should have been taken care of in some manner. So when we say pre-existing conditions, that is what we're talking about. I've had a lot of questions on that. And then as far as ordering, now I don't know how many people are on from Lake Country. I saw a couple of you, but Milwaukee North Shore, you have your own ordering site. Lake Country, you have your own. And you don't have to do that. You can email me directly, and I have somebody who works full-time entering orders, and specifically for the Keller Williams offices. As soon as the restrictions are lifted and you're back in your offices, you'll meet her, and you can email me, you can call in, and you can order right online. So it's very easy. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to shoot them in the chat. They're going to send us any questions you have. I will reach out directly, and Scott can too.
Cool. Hey, Amy, question came in from the chat line is,
Yes.
What does the process look like post-close when a claim is made? Are reps requesting copies of the home inspection report, or how are those handled?
So when a claim is made, we will need a copy of the home inspection report just because we do cover the pre-existing conditions.
Got it. Cool. What else? Anybody else have questions they want to throw in the chat? No? Good. All right, cool. Well, in our follow-up this week, guys, I will make
Oh,
sure.
I see. Sorry, Troy. I see. What if there's no inspection? That's fine. You don't need an inspection. You do not need an inspection in order to have this warranty, and you do not have to use a certain inspector in order to have this warranty as well. There is something separate that I can talk to you guys about, that it does extend the coverage, and it's fantastic if you do use an inspector in the network. But I want to be very clear that Scott and I are not on here to push our previous inspection company. Nick Shirley is actually the managing partner of House to Home. So we don't care. I mean, we care. It'd be nice if you use House to Home, but it doesn't matter who you use. We will help you, and we will help get your inspector signed up, and we'll answer any inspection questions you have, because obviously we're experts in that area.
I just saw a question. I just saw a question about home site come up. Did you see that, Charlie?
No, go ahead. Feel free to.
So the question, I read it briefly, and don't have my reading glasses on, so I want to make sure I got it right. Is that you know, is it, how do you extend it with home site? It's automatic. So home site and a few other companies in town have what's called ISG, or inspectors. Why am I blanking? What's that?
Inspector
Services Group, with all the logos on it. And if they're part of that, like home site and a few others, it's an automatic 18-month. It automatically goes from 12 months to 18 months if there's a home inspection. You don't have to order through home site. You don't have to order through anybody. You just, when you order it, you just say you had a qualifying inspector. I know that's kind of a loose term, but that means, are they an ISG inspector, which Residential Warranty Services and ISG is owned by the same Nathan Thornberry. So they're synergistically working together. So if anybody's using, and you see those logos on there from the ISG, you're automatically going from 12 months to 18 months without any question.
You can always email me questions. If you have questions on the inspectors, I'm happy to send out a list, and I'm happy to get any of your inspectors that you use signed up, and they get 1 year for free to be an inspector. So on this list, so it's no money out of pocket to them. It helps your clients, helps everybody, has more coverage and less complaints. So that's all the time that I'll take. Thanks, Charlie. And I look forward to getting emails from everybody.
No, another question.
Oh.
Question for you. If you upgrade the 2-year, does the 6-month extension go on top?
No, it's a total liability of coverage of 2 years.
So you don't have. So you don't have to use an ISG inspector to upgrade to 2 years. It's a $400 straight fee. So if you use one of these qualifying inspectors who use the ISG, that takes you automatically to 18 months, then it's only an additional $200 to get to 2 years of coverage, which you all know that's basically your liability is 2 years limited in the state of Wisconsin. So if you see that, the extra $200, in my opinion, is just a no-brainer to do that. So using an RWS warranty, using an ISG inspector, and like Amy said, it's free. There's absolutely no reason why Mark Henry or anybody else in the system that you guys like and use, we are more than happy to call them, and they can use it for a year for free. I mean, most people pay $25 in inspection to get this coverage, because it is some coverage with that as well. There's a whole bunch of other enhancements that we're not going to go through, but it's crazy. I've been doing home inspections for 30 years. If somebody came to me and said, you can have these warranties, you limited your liability, you're going to help your realtors, and it's free, it's a no-brainer. So please have your home inspectors call us so we can get them signed up so you get that automatically.
Yes, we do cover pools. It's an additional $185. I just saw that somebody asked that. And yes, I can get everybody a list of inspectors. What I'd really like to do is have everybody send me who they'd like to have signed up. I'll contact them, and then we can have a complete list that I can get to all of you with the inspectors that you use.
Cool. Amy, Scott, thanks for jumping on to answer some questions. And we will be sending out, guys, in the weekly follow-up, Amy and Scott's contact information again, as well as the ordering links and various other things like that. So cool.
And I also want to offer up, Charlie, if anybody's doing especially a seller seminar or a buyer seminar, they're doing a virtual one. If they want us to pop on and talk about warranties, we can do that. We can talk about obviously inspections, but that's not our deal right now. But if somebody wants us to come on and talk about warranties and why they should put one on, and it's free for listings, and what the value is, and why you're crazy not to have one on there as a lister, when you're going to sell your house, we're more than happy to do that as well.
Cool. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, Lindsay Brannick, Brad Yates, you're on with Tech Tuesdays.
All right, good morning, everybody. So today's tech training is all about smart plans. So this is automating your business. Now, a lot of people have talked about and asked me, okay, I've got my contacts in my database in Command, what do I do with them? So any sphere of influence, leads, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna set them up on smart plans. So it's a really great applet as part of the Command program, where you can automate your listing checklists, marketing, and drip campaigns. There's 10 different smart plans in there. So Charlie, if you wanna go to the next slide. So you can pick and choose what smart plans you set these contacts up on. Now, what's really cool is that you can create your own 33 touch campaign. So there's smart plans to send out emails with market snapshots. There's birthday, anniversary campaigns. So really, really cool, robust smart plans. You can also create your own. So reaching out to your sphere of influence, the leads that you capture through Facebook ads, anyone that signs up on your website, your KW app. This is a really great tool to utilize to stay in touch with those contacts. So Brad is going to talk about at noon today for tech training how he is using smart plans and who he's setting up on these smart plans. So join us at 12 o'clock today.
Cool. Guys, as Harrison alluded to earlier during his conversation, it's a great way to leverage and how do you drip your sphere of influence through your database and kind of set up and forget it, various different value propositions, great way to tap into touching your database and creating 33 touch campaigns and all those sorts of things. So learn smart plans today at noon with Lindsay and Brad. All right, Kimmy, I'm turning it over to you for some very important compliance updates.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. So touching on two things this morning. First, I got a question yesterday from an agent. They have a listing under contract closing next week. Question was, my seller got water in their basement due to the high rain. Do we need to disclose to the buyer? The answer is yes. So I want to remind everybody of this section of the offer to purchase. This was amended a little bit with the new residential offer to purchase. But lines 471 to 480 state that if the property is damaged in an amount not more than 5% of the purchase price, other than normal wear and tear, seller shall promptly notify the buyer in writing and will be obligated to restore the property to materially the same condition it was in at the date the offer is written. And the seller shall provide buyer with copies of all required permits, lien waivers for the lienable repairs no later than closing. So just a reminder about that piece, that if your sellers did get water, do your due diligence and disclose to the buyer to avoid post-closing disputes or issues down the road. The second piece I want to talk about today is open houses. So we've had a lot of questions about with the Safer at Home order being kind of overruled by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. What does that mean for open houses? Can we do them now? So at this time, the in-person open house button in MLS is still deactivated. So MLS has said that the situation of what is allowed and what isn't as a result of the Wisconsin Supreme Court order overturning the governor's Safer at Home order has created a fluid situation where there's no consistency on reopening businesses and the economy in general. So as a result, we're waiting for further guidance from the WRA as well as local governments. So Metro MLS is monitoring all moving pieces and staying in close contact with board of directors and leadership. And please know that we'll move quickly once we have conscience on the best path forward for all involved. So essentially what they're saying is, we're not saying you can't hold open houses, but we're not going to be facilitating that in MLS at this time. The WRA released a statement in the legal updates last night, basically saying, again, there's no rules as to whether you can or cannot hold open houses. However, ultimately it's up to the seller and the listing agent to determine if the open house will occur at this time. So we're kind of leaving it up to you guys as the listing agent to make that decision with your sellers. But just note that probably after Memorial Day, we're thinking that this open house button will be reactivated in MLS. That's our hope. but obviously no guarantees. So just some things to consider if you're going to do an in-person open house. One way we're seeing some agents advertising their open houses, they're using the virtual open house feature, and within the comment section, they're just acknowledging that, hey, this is a live open house as well. So if you're going to be, again, doing these live open houses, please, it is highly encouraged to really take into consideration Charlie, if you want to hit to the next slide, the recommendations that the state is recommending for, in-person gatherings, if you will. So first and foremost, highly encourage you and your seller to execute the coronavirus showings and inspection safety commitment form. I would at least, at the very minimum, have you sign it and your seller sign it. It may be difficult to have all visiting parties sign a form as they enter the open house with sharing pens and whatnot, but if you're able to have all the visiting parties sign that form as well, and again, remember, they can sign different copies, so you can have one copy for each visiting party. But then in addition to that, practicing social distancing, encouraging visitors to wear gloves and masks, providing hand sanitizer at the door, establishing kind of a procedure of one family in the property at a time, maybe setting up a one-way in, one-way out, so people aren't passing each other through the front door. Just really being cognizant of the safety guidelines we should all be following. Do we have questions in the chat here?
Yeah. Does the COVID showing and inspection safety commitment form need to be submitted with an offer to purchase?
No. So the coronavirus showings and inspection safety commitment form is simply for showing. So it's just basically an agreement between the seller, listing agent, buyer's agent, any visiting parties entering that, hey, we're all acknowledging that this is going on. We're going to try to abide by the social distancing guidelines. We're aware that the listing firm is not held liable if anybody contracts COVID-19 during the showing, but it does not need to be submitted with an offer. There is a separate addendum. It's called the coronavirus addendum to the offer to purchase. So there's two different forms. So that addendum can be attached to the offer to purchase, and that addendum addresses automatic deadline extensions in the event office closes or title company closes or party to the contract comes down with COVID-19.
Then question from Sarah is, where is the virtual open house feature within MLS?
So I believe it is, when you are, typically go through and schedule an open house, it's like a public open house. I believe it's there. I could be wrong. I honestly, I don't have listings, so I've not set up a virtual open house, but I know, I believe Karen Trimble did a webinar, a Zoom video on this specific topic last week, so it's probably saved to our YouTube channel with some top tips on how to set those up.
We will get a screenshot of it and share it with the group in our weekly recap.
Perfect.
Cool. Guys, I would just say my personal commentary, I know I've had a lot of people ask me my personal opinion on open houses. My take on it, and again, this is my personal opinion, so I'm not saying that this is a brokerage directive. I think Memorial Day weekend for open houses may be a tad too soon, and I use the example of, you don't want to be that bar in West Dallas that was on TMJ4 with all the people in the bar and the negative public perception that created. I don't know if you want to draw that kind of attention to your business. And I do believe, based on some conversations I've had yesterday and conversations that were had this morning with Mike Ruzicka at the GMAR and the WRA, that I think that more direction as it relates to open houses will be coming out for the weekend after Memorial Day. So I would just say I would proceed cautiously. and be very aware of the reputation or perception that you could create in the marketplace as it relates to open houses, specifically this weekend. So.
And
Cool.
I did just thank you, Megan Stale, for confirming that you schedule virtual open houses in the same section where you would schedule a regular open house. So thanks, Megan.
Awesome. All right, weekly insights. What's going on within the weekly trends? Good news, guys. The vital signs are still showing positive net gains. So what does it look like? Jumping in here. Here is the showing time report. Number of showings per week this year versus last year. Great news. U.S. is only down 11%. At its peak, the U.S. was down around 40 to 50%. The state of Wisconsin last week, we were up 9% versus last year. So showing time buyer activity in the marketplace was 9% higher last week this year versus last week last year. So again, all positive signs are showing tremendous buyer activity are coming back strong within the marketplace as the market was up 9% on showings last week. Also, units under contract, more positive trends within the marketplace, right? We had the most units that went under contract the week of 5/11 in all of 2020. We had 590 units that went under contract within the Metro MLS. Again, all very positive trends that we're seeing. You know, when I look at data, 1 week is an anomaly, 2 week begins a trend, but when you're starting to see 4 to 5 weeks of similar trends, it means the market's coming back strong. That's all positive stuff. Comparatively of what you saw previously within 2020. One thing to note, I did take a look at this. This segmentation of data is across all price points. Before I created the presentation, I did take a look at this by creating segmentations across 0 to 350, 350 to 700, and 700 plus. And all the trends that I'm going to speak to today are consistent across all price points. So we're seeing very similar trends across all these different factors across all price points. Cool. So new unit inventory, what's coming up? If you look here last week, 2 weeks ago, we had our highest number of new unit inventories. We had a little bit of a dip last week, the week of 5/11. So not, we're not below 500 in terms of new units that are coming to the market, but 577 is still really, really strong. Yet we're still off. We're still far off on where we need to be within the spring market, yet it's trending in the right direction of sellers who are now considering listing their properties and coming to the marketplace. And then sales absorption, again, as a reminder, this is just the percentage of inventory that goes under contract. You always look at, sales absorption is a great indicator in terms of what does the market activity look like. You can see we are now 2 weeks in a row of the 2 strongest weeks of the year in 2020 as it relates to sales absorption. So 9.7% of the total inventory went under contract last week. And then if you look at total inventory within the marketplace, this is where we're really starting to see a dip here. So the concern here, as I've spoken to earlier, is if you look at the total number of units going under contract is currently outpacing the number of new units coming to the marketplace. So again, the shortage of supply is actually still compounding by the fact that more units are going under contract than those new inventory coming to the marketplace. So I have a few little nuggets for you as it relates to inventory that you can discuss with your clients. So if you look at the inventory conversation, a balanced market is really considered 6 months of inventory. If you have less than 6 months of inventory, it's considered a seller's market. And if you have greater than 6 months of inventory, it's considered a buyer's market. Current inventory in the marketplace is 2.8 months of supply. So you can see it's really suppressed in terms of the inventory. And if you compared April of this year versus April of last year, we saw a 20% reduction in terms of the total months of supply from last year. There were 3.5 months of supply to 2.8 months of supply in April of 2020. To balance the market or to balance the inventory levels, the market would need an additional 5,600 units in order for it to be considered a 6-month supply. So if you look, there's roughly around 6,000 units for sale right now. We would need to see roughly around 10,000 units for it to be a balanced market. So something I'll continue to be paying attention to as it relates to the units that are going under contract and the new units coming to the marketplace, so that I can give you guys an indication as to when or if we start seeing relief as it relates to inventory levels here moving forward into the summer. And then lastly, Mike Ruzicka, the president of the Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors, put out a press release last week as it related to the marketplace. And there was one quote in here as the final piece of the press release that I thought was very impactful, and I thought was really worth reiterating, as it's very much something that I believe in. And I'm just going to quote this directly off the slide. And I quote, "Nonetheless, the overall health of the regional economy and the real estate market as the pandemic hit southeastern Wisconsin should enable the market to withstand the current shock and resume functioning with minimal change." Right? One of the things that we've talked about over Tuesday team meetings the last several weeks is, if your business is in a healthy place before the pandemic hit, you're in a great place to weather the storm. And if you look at all macroeconomic factors of the residential real estate market within southeastern Wisconsin, as well as the regional economy, the market was a very, very healthy, functioning market. And so we believe that the current shock, it will be able to withstand the current shock and resume functioning with minimal change. And I totally believe in what the Greater Milwaukee Association and back what their message is out within the marketplace. So. Cool. Awesome. And I'm just going to wrap this up, turn it over to Mandy, who's going to give us a quick update as it relates to education and events for this week.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So let's see. We're looking at our third week here. Pay close attention to the training calendar this week because we did have a few updates. So as Charlie mentioned, the office will be closed on Friday. So that KW 101, use that time if you want to go back. She's done this one before, so feel free to check it out on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, we have at 11 o'clock tomorrow, Coffee with the Gian Grecos. So all about running a family business and finding balance. So don't forget to miss that tomorrow at 11. And then today we have tech training with Lindsay at noon, and then launch coaching at 10:30 with Amanda. And then we also we're doing that new listing showcase. So North Shore, just stay on this line after a team meeting, and Lake Country will be on your meetup Zoom. So feel free to stay on for that. And that's what we've got for this week.
Cool. Thanks, Mandy. Guys, reminder, one other thing, Bold Pivot is continuing this week, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and then Thursday the 21st, as well as the coaching corners on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then next week, Tuesday the 26th and Thursday the 28th will be the final two sessions, with coaching corner wrapping up on Friday, May 29th. And as a reminder, if you've missed a session of Bold Pivot, don't hesitate to go back. It is all posted and recorded for you to review at your pleasure whenever you're able to make the time to dive into Bold Pivot. Cool. Guys, I thank you for everything. I hope you have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully we can see the 70-degree weather with sunny blue skies, and have a great, fantastic Memorial Day, guys. Cool. Lake Country, you guys can jet off to your Lake Country meetup, and the North Shore group